Hi. Let's try this again. Let's take two. I'm so sorry, you guys. I don't know what in the world's happening. It seems every time I hop on a computer in the last, I don't know, 4 years, something weird goes on, and there's always a technical issue on my end for some reason. But that's besides the point. You guys are here to hear more about redox, to detox, and cellular health. I am so excited to introduce you all to my beautiful friend who lives out in Australia, Miss Naomi Cook. Naomi is a former registered nurse, a 5G safe technician and educator, as well as a redox specialist. So I've asked her to come in here today and give us some details with regards to what redox is, because it's a big factor in my father's healing journey, and again in mine. And it's kind of funny how that came to be. But before we get going, I'm going to bring her in so you can meet her as well. Okay, if you have any questions or comments or anything like that during the chat, feel free to leave a comment in the live stream, and we'll try and get to all of your questions. Okay, wonderful. Hello,
hey, we're here.
We did it.
We did it.
We're okay. That was wild.
It was a bit weird. That was a bit weird.
Yeah. So right now it's our tomorrow for you, first thing in the morning, and so I want to thank you for hopping on so early.
My pleasure. It's great. It's great to be here.
So yeah, funny story. Naomi and I worked a little bit together from a distance during the COVID pandemic, and yeah, she was a big voice out in Australia, and we touched base and we hit it off right away. So I just wanted to, when she reached out to me with regards to help with Dad in terms of redox, it was funny because what I was doing, I had started back in 2010, and I had already been using the redox supplement way back when, before a lot of people knew about it, but I had heard about it through my my acupuncturist. So it was so bizarre at the time. And then I was just like, this is weird. No. So I've been on and off it for a long time. But Naomi, I want to talk about, I've lost all of my stuff here, and I don't know where I put it because I was so flustered.
I know. It was a bit chaotic.
I threw it on the floor. I threw it on the floor. That's how mad I am. All right. So I guess to get going, let's start. What brought you to this redox journey? Because I think it's important to get a personal feel for everybody's story. And
totally, 100%. Well, with me, back in 2019, my youngest daughter started having a health challenge at the beginning of the year. And it was really, really vague onset. There was a bit of fatigue. There was difficulties concentrating. This progressed into her. She was 9 back then. So it progressed into her not wanting to play. Big deal for a child to lose the desire to play. And there were other strange symptoms that began to develop over the year. There was dizziness. There was digestive issues, passing mucus. So I freaked out. We've got a history of brain cancer with my older daughter. So my mind goes to the worst possible place when there's a health challenge. I'm like that. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is it?
Well,
so
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. So I started doing like this journey of investigation. I was like, okay, we need to rule out tick-related illnesses. We need to rule out parasites. I was actually so convinced it was a parasite. I actually got an integrative GP to prescribe her a strong antibiotic to treat parasites, because I was so sure it was that. She'd had it before, and I thought, what, this must be what it is. It wasn't. And her symptoms got progressively worse over the year, to the point where she developed neurological symptoms. When it was at its worst, I'd insisted upon an MRI, because I was like, okay, this is clearly a spinal tumor. I was like, I'm so sure. I was freaking out. I was so scared. My child, who had been happy-go-lucky, energetic, was a shadow of her former self, lying on the couch, couldn't even walk up the stairs. And so the MRI that she had completely knocked her flat. It exacerbated her symptoms so much that I'll get to the reason why in a minute. I ended up going to hospital with her 2 days later, and I looked like the crazy mom in ED. I was told she had psychological problems. She was probably being bullied at school, but she wasn't being bullied at school. And they admitted her. Luckily, they admitted her, and they did like a whole lot of testing, which is what I wanted. They ruled out all sorts of health challenges. But they basically thought that she had anxiety due to the number of tests I'd asked for to find out why she was sick. Now, at that point in time, a GP I had seen earlier in the year, he'd suggested that she probably had a sensitivity to electromagnetics, so Wi-Fi, cell phone emissions, Bluetooth and things like that. And I thought this makes perfect sense. I was already involved with the whole 5G awareness movement, and I know we're all electrically sensitive on some level. He'd said she could be very sensitive because she has food chemical sensitivities. So he said, if you're sensitive to food chemicals, you're likely to have electromagnetic sensitivities to a high degree. So I kind of thought, yeah, he probably does, but I was still convinced back then it's parasite, something else going on. So in hospital, when we were there, doctors telling me that she had anxiety. I got the results through from some blood tests that he'd asked for previously, and they correlated positively to her symptom picture, which was that she had a very high degree of sensitivity to electromagnetics. And so this was an incredible relief for me, because I thought, okay, I've got a reason. Even though nobody believes me, I have a reason. And the universe works in amazing ways. A friend of mine called me when I was in hospital. She said, Naomi, I work with a product. It contains redox signaling molecules. They're native to the body. They're non-toxic, helps the body deal with oxidative stress and inflammation, which is what she had. And I was like, okay, well, let's just do it. I've got nothing to lose. I want my child back. So I took her home, and we got a bottle of the stuff, a box of the stuff. And we were very lucky that within days, there were changes. I got goosebumps. There were changes. It took her a full 6 months to regain a sense of vitality that I hadn't seen for a very long time. So looking back, her vitality had probably been ebbing away for some time before this stronger symptom picture came into play. But by 3 months in, she was already back at the table doing some drawings. 4 months in, back in full-time school. And then 6 months, there was this, wow, this is the child I'd forgotten that I'd actually had.
Wow, that's so awesome. And it's so crazy to see those changes with like a product like that. You know what I mean? Like every day, I think I'm baffled by the simplicity of healing. I really, really am. We have overcomplicated it for so long that it started to fail on every angle. And now that we're getting back to some amazing compounds and some amazing, well, to nature and, the way it was way back when, and we're not taking that for granted. I still find it amusing that, the Canadian government is trying to kibosh all of the natural products and make it impossible for it to be here. But I digress. Like even with Dad's journey, when you reached out to me and you were like, did you try this? Yeah. I hadn't even used it in about 3-4 years from that point. And I was like, duh.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right. So then let's kind of dive. How is she now? Let me start with that.
She is amazing. And that's one reason why I love working with this product, because it literally helps support us through toxic modern living. Whether we have sensitivities that are so obvious as hers or not, we're all being exposed and bombarded with toxins daily, whether it's from using a mobile phone, whether it's, the neighbor's Wi-Fi or a mobile phone base station down the street, what's in our food, what's coming out the sky. We're all being, what's off-gassing off our furniture. Always draw people's attention to our furniture, is off-gassing. So I think we all need support. And so this helps her live a normal life. For somebody who is so sensitive, and I'm talking, we walked into the hospital 2 days ago to get an x-ray. And we walked into the waiting room. She said, is there an MRI machine in here? She felt the room move. She feels like she's on a ship when she's exposed to strong magnetic fields. So this supports her. She goes home, she drinks a few cups, we walk on the beach. This supports her and helps her go to school. live a normal life with somebody with, you know, what is ultimately quite crippling for many people who are so sensitive to EMF.
Oh, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. So then let's get into, for beginners out here that are just starting to learn, what is cellular health?
Well, I mean, cellular health really is your body health too, because what's happening on a cellular level is broadcast and mirrored to us through what our bodies are doing.
Mhm.
So when we're talking about cellular health, we're talking about, you know, whole health, whole health of the whole body.
Right, right.
It's funny because with these redox signaling molecules, they are created in every single cell in the body, and we do have an abundance when we're young, and we create less as we age. And they do help cells communicate and talk to one another. So when cells are talking to one another and communicating, they're able to see what's going on and they're able to address. Have I ever asked you, Amanda? Do you know how long we would live if our redox capacity, our ability to create redox diminished instantly? Do you know how long we would have left to live if our redox capacity just turned off?
Yeah, it wouldn't be long.
3 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And whereas
It's
we can go minutes without
nobody
oxygen.
cares about this.
Yeah,
This
I
is
know.
what blows my mind. It is not,
Yeah.
it is not a known term.
Yep. It is
It's
not a known
so
term.
anything but, and I think this is where, um, not the indoctrination, I don't wanna go there yet, but it's where people are uncomfortable because they're not being taught how their body works and what their body needs.
Yep.
That's been completely eliminated from any kind of school system. Now you have to go pay another school system to teach you, you know, their system about your body, when in fact, all disease is a state of acid in within your cells in your body. Like, your cells are unhealthy. They're not
Right.
breathing, they're dehydrated, you know?
Right.
So I like to say too, like, think about a cell. If you want to break it down simply, and this may be weird, but this is how I think about it, and I keep trying to get smaller and smaller as I go along.
Mm.
But for people that don't understand the anatomy of a cell,
Mm.
think of it, or try to take care of it as you would take care of yourself as
Right.
a whole. Think of yourself as one cell, and what are the things that you require to stay healthy? Now, don't say pharma, because pharma doesn't count in this case. Okay, this is just a random generic thing. But what is it that you need to live,
Yeah.
right? And that's basically how you would treat each individual cell in your
Yeah.
body, you know? And if it's not working, you're not producing the energy to maintain the healthiness that is required for everything to keep,
That's right.
right? Right?
Yeah.
So I, I'll ask you this, but I think I know the answer. But why do you think this simple factor is so overlooked in the healing world? And why don't we hear about it?
I reckon it's there's just this huge delay, and this delay in terms of the education of healthcare professionals um, is simply reflecting a lack of consciousness in our collective regarding our innate ability to heal and to be well and to have vitality. It's this we're disempowered, you know,
But
as a collective and as individuals. And but yeah, this is like the reflection, the mirror reflections projected into this reality we're experiencing, where it's like this knowledge is being withheld from us. It is being withheld, but at the same time, you know, our consciousness just hasn't got to a level yet where we're ready to engage with this whole new earth where we know this stuff. But
yeah,
it's coming. And this is why we're having this conversation today, because we are the pioneers of it.
100%. And these conversations need to be had, especially at a regenerative level, because I mean, we're watching not just the healthcare system fall, we're watching all of the systems fall. We're watching, you know, big ag slowly take hits and people waking up going, wait a minute. We're watching, you know, the education systems completely failing, saying,
100%.
you know, and people are pulling their kids out of school left, right, and center.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's very empowering, and I
Yeah.
kudos to those parents. I mean, my kids are homeschooled, so
Amazing.
you know, they're and the things that these kids can do would blow your mind. Like it was the scariest thing I ever did. And yet it was the most amazing thing I ever talked myself into,
Incredible.
you know? So, yeah, back to redox. What, I guess let's talk about the 5 key areas of health that are affected by breakdown and what types of things are breaking people's cells down. And it's very
Yeah.
basic. So,
Yeah.
you know, as layman as we can get,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I guess the biggest one that I would talk about would be inflammation.
Mhm.
Inflammation, which occurs from, sorry, it's my phone. From oh gosh, it's an imbalance between your body's ability to come back into balance after being exposed to stresses of some type, which is part of life. I think you
Mhm.
mentioned this in your video. We exercise and we train, but when we get into some oxidative stress, that's okay, because this leads to a more resilient being, provided you're able to come back into balance. When we're exposed to toxins out there on the street, to a certain degree, we should be able to bring ourselves back into balance by getting a good night's sleep, by eating healthy food. But the problem is, because we're so overloaded with stresses and our body's abilities to create with these stresses are also hampered. I am talking about melatonin. Our production of melatonin is hampered by blue light. So we're not only being exposed to massive stresses on a daily basis, it throws us out of whack. Our ability to compensate for those is also out of whack because of other things that we're doing and things we're exposed to. So being unable to come back into a balance prevents us from becoming resilient as beings, and therefore full of vital force and life force. So I would say that's the biggest. And oxidative stress really now is thought to be the cornerstone
Right.
to most disease processes.
Oh, 100%. But what is oxidative stress for people that don't understand that?
So, I mean, you might even be able to talk more on a cellular level than me, but it's basically when the body is exposed to a stressor and the cells undergo what's really referred to as type of a rusting. And then the body would come back in and deal with that. And that's where redox comes into play. But maybe you can talk more about that.
It's the breakdown and the inability of a cell to produce the energy it needs to continue on, and it's just die off, really, right? And then you start not having the energy you've had. You start your organs aren't working as well as they should be. You know, your hormones aren't pumping out the way they should be. The communication in your body isn't going. Your brain's foggy. You know, you're bloaty. Just and you know, it's easy to say old age sucks, but you know what? That's an excuse, and we're finding that out more and more and more. I mean, I'm almost 50, for crying out loud.
Oh my goodness, you look amazing. Are you really?
Almost.
Well done, you.
But you know what? There's ways to reverse the clock. There are.
Yeah.
And we have been handed a load of garbage
Yep.
that is so
Yep.
Rockefeller-ish, you know? But I mean, and that's why I ended up getting into regenerative healthcare and
Yeah, I love it.
becoming that student in order
Yep.
to help people where I can.
Yep.
Because I've been doing it for 2 years anyways. My dad is an amazing miracle. It's worked. And I think that in itself empowered me to look outside of that. We used to have a bunch of nurses here that worked, and they were complete rock stars. I'm telling you right now, complete and utter rock stars. You know, they were kicked out of their job because of denying that the safe and effective vaccine. But anyways, if I say it fast enough, I'm hoping that the computer completely miss it, right?
Scrabble it.
Yeah. But they were just rock stars, and they watched how we healed him as well.
Incredible.
And he came in here with 11 medications, and he's not on one single medication.
Phenomenal.
His entire body is completely healed. Now all we do is try to pull him out of his brain, and I know there is a way. I haven't given up. I mean,
Yes.
you know, like we have advanced, and I know there are ways, and I know they're hidden from us at this point still.
Yep.
But another one that I really think is important that people need to pay attention to is one of the 5 key areas, which is hormone modulation.
Yeah,
That's a
huge.
huge factor,
Yep.
right? Like your hormones regulate nearly every cell in your body, and just the slightest imbalance can throw your metabolism off, your growth off, your sleep off, and even your mood. Now, I want you to think in terms of children, because this is becoming more and more apparent.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
So there has to be a way around these chemical,
the endocrine disruptors.
Right. Right. And a safe alternative at that moment, you know? So what's your take on that?
Yeah. I mean, with regards to the redox, there was one study done, it was some time ago now, and it was on a group of, there's a placebo control group and then a test group, and it was healthy adults. They took double what the normal dose would be considered for 8 weeks. And they found at the end of 8 weeks that there were 5 genetic pathways activated. So 5 genetic pathways that had actually switched off with the aging process, which is what happens with age. Genes turn off and then things don't work the same way they did when we were younger. So 5 genetic pathways were activated, and one of those pathways obviously controlled hormones. And so, when we replenish redox signaling molecules, we have the capacity to switch on genes that then improve hormone function. And that's relevant to kids, as you were saying, in this day and age. It's not just adults that have issues with hormones.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And we've got the other functions. I mean, we've got the digestive function. What does redox do for the digestive function?
You know what is amazing about this? So there are so many amazing products out there that help with inflammation and oxidative stress. And, I love them. I love trying things. I'm like you. I'm an experimenter.
We don't have a choice.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We're adventurous too. We like to see what's out there. But one amazing thing about taking redox signaling molecules is that it actually bypasses digestion. And this is relevant because digestive processes are usually adversely affected in toxic modern living. I mean, majority of individuals will have some issue with digestion. So we have molecules that are so tiny. They are recognized by native as the body, and they get assimilated and absorbed mainly in the mouth. So you swish them for about 20 seconds before you swallow. Within 15 seconds, they're already in the body doing their thing. There's no need to be digested. So if you take a supplement that needs digestion and you have, a slightly impaired digestive processes, you will absorb some of the supplement, but the degree to which it can work to its full capacity will be hindered by your digestion that you're trying to improve through taking it. But then you've got the issue that, taking off is going to be a lag.
Yeah. Awesome. Yep. And what about the cardiovascular system?
Yeah. Well, yes, interesting. So there have been studies with redox signaling molecules that have seen there are improvements to the vascular system. And we know that the heart is rich in mitochondria, and the mitochondria produce redox signaling molecules. So without saying anything.
Yeah. So just to give an overview, I mean, the five affected key areas for everybody out there is the digestive function, the hormone modulation, the cardiovascular system, the immune system, and the inflammatory response, right? Which are massive. So they correlate with every organ and gland in your body. So you can see how imperative it is to kind of tie that in. And I mean, you've got your digestive function, which I had mentioned a couple days ago, ties in with your brain activity, because you have 10 signals that go back and forth between your gut and your brain. 9 of those signals go from your gut to your brain, and only 1 comes out of your brain and goes to your gut. So that's huge.
The gut is the first brain. The brain is the second brain.
That's right. It may control all of the things, all of the glands and whatever, but your gut is the one that's sending messages to your brain in order to process all that. At the end of the day. So, okay. If we were going to define what redox actually is, what would you say?
So it is literally, when we have this blue bottle here, we have a bottle of liquid potential, and I'm talking about electromagnetic potential. It is salt and water molecules that have undergone electrolysis for a period of hours. So purified salt, purified water, given an electric shock for a few hours, and they come out of that atomically restructured as trillions of redox signaling molecules. So the ingredients say salt, water. Just like when you have a loaf of bread, it will say flour and salt. It won't say bread on the ingredients list. And then but the product, the finished product, is trillions of redox signaling molecules. And really what this is, it's a bottle of electrons waiting to do their thing. They get into the body, they donate electrons. This turns on cells or turns off cells, and then get cells talking where they need to talk. So cells that have had struggles communicating with one another because of age, because of toxins, because of whatever, they're given an electron from these redox signaling molecules. Oh, okay, we're talking now. There's a problem over there. I better go over there and deal with it. Let's bring on, you know, a healing response of some sort. Without redox, cells can't do that. As I said before, like the body, you can only live for 3 seconds if your redox capacity completely disappears. So literally it's an on-off switch for cells. It's an on-off switch for the entire body.
Yep. Oh, that's, and it's so funny too, you know, like I'm sitting here trying to follow up in this most simple and basic way that I can to help people kind of understand the jargon or start to ask the right questions about how they can take control of their health and take back the power and all of that. And, you know, it's funny because people will say, it says salt water.
Yeah. I know.
And it's the funniest thing because honestly, if I hadn't have known what it did for me back in 2010, and then again watched the amazing effects it did with my dad, like it allowed him to, it gave him more alertness. It gave him more social ability, right? So he was able to sit and communicate with his friends on a longer and in a nicer basis. You know, I even caught him trying to do a dance in his bed. Like we turned on the TV for karaoke and we were doing a karaoke kind of thing in his room, and he started moving his legs like he was dancing again. And I'm telling you, after a year and a half of just not knowing if there was going to be anything new or progress.
Got tears in my eyes. Oh, that's so beautiful.
And then to see, you know, things are moving again. Incredible. And it just takes a little bit of coming off of that plateau and going back to simple.
That's right. I mean, this is I see it as a foundational. It's completely foundational. It is, we nickname it liquid electricity. Like it's that foundational. You can layer on top whatever you want because there are many amazing things out there. But if you start with the foundation, which is the electrical signaling between cells, the communication between cells, then you've got an amazing foundation to layer on top, you know, whatever else you need.
Yeah. And that's all we are electrical beings.
Right.
We are just one great big electrical signal out there.
Yeah.
So replenishing that is key. Well, let's get into, is there any questions out there for Naomi regarding any kind of redox signaling questions before we keep going here? Let's see here. Okay. Well, we have decided to throw out some offers. So Naomi, why don't you tell the audience what we kind of put our heads together so that people can give this a go should they require. What's a normal timeline for people on a redox?
Honestly, this is a great question. People really need to be realistic. You know, health challenges and states of being. And states of being, I mean the brain fog, I mean the suboptimal state of vitality that most of us live in. This takes years to manifest. So we can't expect to just take, you know, one little cup and we're going to feel amazing. So there's about 10% that will get a positive or some sort of positive shift in the first week. And by the end of a 3-month period, up to 90% can expect to see changes of some sort. Now, these may not be changes that you want addressed straight away. Redox almost has like its own innate intelligence. It's going to go in the body where it wants to go first, and it will address what it feels it needs to address first. So by the end of 3 months, you should be seeing differences. I recommend, if you're going to do this journey, you need support. So Amanda and I have created a Facebook group. I think the link is somewhere here for you to go in. And we would support you through this. I think this is not like taking a single tablet and expecting, okay, I can just go along my daily life. I think it's a journey. It's a redox journey. And so support is needed. So especially during that first 3 months, because you may need input on, okay, you know what, it's been 2 weeks. I haven't had a shift on 1 cup twice a day. Maybe you need to double the dose. Maybe you can't afford to double the dose. So maybe we need to give it a little bit longer than 3 months. But support, I think, is really necessary. So there's a Facebook group for you guys. If you want to give this a go, support is there. There'll be Amanda's there. I'm there. Anna is there. Anna's the one who told me about this amazing product. And we have an offer as well for the first 20 that want to give this a go. We have actually a free Redox clay mask. And this is, has yours arrived yet, Amanda? Oh my goodness. This is really good. It's coming. It's coming. It should come next week. It's took years for them to create this. And when they first released it, I was like, clay mask, I want to talk about breakthroughs for humanity. Clay mask seems a bit in there. But seriously, oh my goodness, it's really, really plumping on the face. Like it really gets rid of the two. Like it's good. So this is for free for the first 20 that want to give this product a try. And we'll arrange that.
Wow, that's so nice. And head office is throwing that in.
Yeah. So we'll basically, the first 20 to order the box of 4 bottles, we'll get names and addresses, and then we will separately be sending one of these clay masks out. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And you'll love it.
I will try it. I'm not a big fan of things, right? I'm pretty low maintenance when hi.
You look amazing.
I'm pretty low maintenance when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I will definitely. You would love it. You guys can find the link to the group in the comments. It's already been posted up there. I threw it in there somewhere.
Yeah, I can see it.
If you're on Instagram, I'll be sure to post that in the description when we play the replay here. Naomi, I am just I'm so thrilled you could hop on because like I've told you, and I tell everybody now, that regenerative healing is the medical system of the future.
Yeah.
It's going mainstream, and I mean, we're always looking for new practitioners. So you can always check out the Institute of Regenerative Health if you're looking to make a difference.
So amazing.
Right. And don't get me wrong. I do believe that there is a time and a place for allopathic medicine. I really believe.
Yeah, totally. Same here. I mean, my daughter who had the brain cancer, she needs synthetic hormones to keep her body working on a daily basis, right? She wouldn't be here. So yeah, you've got to be in balance about it to a certain extent, because
100%, 100%. And I've said it for years, like, can you imagine as a species what we would accomplish if we got rid of the egos and actually just looked at all areas and, stop labeling things as quackery, which is termed by the Rockefellers, by the way. Again, I dropped that name again. But I've been blown away. Like the things that I've seen, you guys, I've watched, the medical system come in and so I should say the government paid medical system come into the house. Yeah. And I've watched them, what they have to offer. And I've watched them constantly question me and pick at the things that I've done. And in the end, want to put in more time to come and learn what's happening and learn about these things. So there is a shift happening.
Amazing.
Like especially with the dietitians. The dietitians are a big thorn in my side when dealing with my dad. And I'm not saying they're bad people by any means. I mean, they're only doing what they learned and what they were taught, but it's just, it's a, it's, 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 this is right versus
Yes,
we can't go out of this box that
Yep.
we were created in school kind of
Yeah.
thing, but I'm here to tell you can. Like if you learn about fasting and if you learn about
Yep.
signaling and if you learn about clean eating,
Yep.
it's not all about calories and everything else. It's about removing inflammatory foods.
Yeah.
It's about allowing your cells to start talking and functioning together. It's about providing energy and hydration to those cells. And most people don't even know. Like they're drinking water that isn't even being absorbed by their cells,
Yes.
right? So they could be drinking and drinking and drinking and peeing.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they're
Dehydration on a cellular level.
Yes. And redox signaling helps with that as well,
Yeah.
right? Talk to me about the NRF2 pathway. I know we started talking about that because this is one of my favorite topics to talk about.
I know. And so it should be. We've got some really exciting news. So, 10, 12 years ago, talking about this product, I mean, I've only been in the business for 5 years, but let's just say it's been a challenge over the course of time. We've got a salt water-based product that comes out of Salt Lake City in Utah. People call it snake oil. There's loads on Google about it. Like, it's not been easy. And back in the day, this was like, when the field of redox biochemistry was, still sort of catching up to what we've got. The company was ridiculed. And so they would approach universities and say, we really want to enter into a partnership. You can study what we've got. And they were turned down. Things have changed so much. This is just so reflective of this entire awakening, really. But basically, the company is now being approached by universities, well-known universities globally, who want to study what we've got. But recently, as in last year, the company created a partnership between the University of Bath in the UK and the University of Western Sydney here in Australia. And what they wanted to do was to look at the impact the product has on the NRF2 pathway. And they already knew from previous studies that it enhanced glutathione production, but this was like next level. And so they engaged the university to do 3 tests to have a look at the impact on the NRF2 pathway. Now, the researchers were so amazed at the results, they voluntarily retested another 6 times. Now, time is money, and researchers, they're busy. Why would anyone in their right mind voluntarily repeat something another 6 times for free unless something massive is going on? So they were so amazed by the impact the molecules had on the NRF2 pathway that they repeated it for free 6 more times. So we have this paper now. I don't actually have it in my Australian back office because here the product is classified as a beverage, but I think you may be different in Canada, and in America it's different. Once again, you can sort of talk more freely about this, but basically, yes. So it is known that taking redox signaling molecules has a potent impact on activating the NRF2 pathway, particularly through upregulating glutathione, which is an antioxidant molecule. It's pretty huge.
Yeah, it's the big one. It's the big antioxidant one that you want functioning very well, not depleting by any
right.
means. Now we joked about this, and I know, but I think the audience out there will get a really big kick out of this. But we talked about pharma, and I keep and yeah, and you mentioned when we were speaking that pharma tried to get their hands on this 12 years ago.
Yeah, there's an amazing story in your group, in your Facebook group that we've started. I'll put a link. There's a 15-minute. Did I just hit my Ethernet cable? No, I didn't. There's a link to the origins of this company, and there's an incredible backstory to how this company came to be. But at the start, this company were sitting with a salt water-based product that made redox molecules that nobody knows what it is, and what are you going to do with it? And so they got in a pharmaceutical company to have a look, to consider maybe they should sell out, because what are they going to do with it? Like, who's going to buy redox? And so Big Pharma came in and had a look at it and realized that what they had was legitimate, and what they claimed it was, and offered them a sum of money that would make them never want to speak to anyone again. I think those words literally are in the documentary. Yeah. And now the feeling between the founders was that if they were to do this it wouldn't reach the people that needed it. And they already had people taking it and doing very, very well. And they were asked by the pharmaceutical to take all product back, all of it. So those that were already taking it and doing well would have to now go without. And because the founders have such integrity, they couldn't do that. So they decided to say no to a massive buyout that would have enabled them all just to sit back and, retire happily. They were already retired. The founder Otis was already retired. So, but he turned that down because he believed the people needed to have this in their hands. And that's one reason why, we're very careful talking about this product publicly, like we are now. We're being very careful because there are certain product classifications country to country. Where I am in Australia, it's classified here as a beverage. So I think it might be a supplement in Canada. So you can say a little bit more. Yeah, but we're careful. We want this product to stay in our hands. We want to be able to share it freely. So we are careful about how we talk about it publicly.
Great. And I just want to point out too that, that shows that there are still some really good people out there with super intentions. And, not everybody is a corruptible
Yes.
delight, if I'm being polite.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot because, like I said, it's their time to shine now. It's just a matter of when that massive flip happens.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's coming really soon.
Yeah.
So, we can continue to bombard ourselves with the processed foods and the acidic foods and the crappy water with the chemicals in it, and just not paying attention to things. Or we can start now while everybody's kind of at a decent similar level and move our way forward together and relearn together. So that's where I am with that. That's what I think. Is there anything else that you wanted to share? I'm trying to think of what we were talking about earlier as well, but yeah.
No,
let me ask you this. What does the redox signaling do for anxiety and stress? Have you heard anything about that?
I mean, basically, the saying goes, where cells are involved, there's a role for redox to improve situations. So we are our cells. Like, we live and die on a cellular level. So the brain is a collection of cells. And so obviously, anxiety, for example, could be multifactorial. But if there is any inflammation in the brain and you're replenishing redox signaling molecules, and that's where they, want to go first, then, and obviously we can't talk about any disease states, but if cells are in need of support, then taking or replenishing redox signaling molecules would be a good idea. There's a question.
Yeah, Roseanne wants to know if redox is safe for nursing moms.
So,
what are you allowed to say?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think. I'm thinking, oh my God, who's watching and who's going to tell me?
Is that a better way to put it?
Let's just say there are many people out there who take redox signaling molecules when they're breastfeeding. I can say that.
Would you take it if you were pregnant?
Absolutely. Gosh, if I could do all that again.
I know. This is the thing. Like, hindsight is always 20/20, and the things that I have done to my body as a young person, but I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't know what I know.
Exactly. No. You're a product of your journey. I know, same.
And I feel like I'm younger now than I was then.
Yeah, right.
There's a few issues I'd like to work on, but
exactly. Oh, I know. I guess the company too, with making statements like, is it safe for? They can't make statements, because to make statements like that, they would probably have to do studies, and then to get ethics approval to study something on women who are pregnant, for example. That's where things get tricky. So in our community, what we do is we all talk.
Well, and that's it. And here's the joke. This is the joke. You're not allowed to talk about charged salt water.
Yeah.
But you should go and get your
right. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's
I
crazy.
just, it makes me crazy. It literally
Yeah.
makes me crazy. But yeah, I really appreciate you joining me today. I can't thank you enough. Like I said, I wanted you guys to have this information today, not because I'm selling it or trying to push it, but because it is such an amazing tool to have in your toolbox. I mean, my dad has had 9 strokes post. I can't say the word because I know that's the
Yep.
word, but the PFI ZER quacks. He had 9 strokes and he was filled with clots. And, you know, the hospital tried to kill him. And at the end of the day, we went in and kidnapped him. And
Yep.
I hired a team of nurses to come and take care of him while he was in that state. And the things that turned him around the most, well, first of all, we had to get rid of his tube feed that they were giving him because that was killing him alone. Malnourished, dehydrated. It's a bunch of corn syrup in a can that they're feeding these patients that can no longer eat food and letting it run in a drip instead of giving them actual food, which is going to provide healing to their body. So within 2 days of changing his diet, that's when the true healing happened. His color came back, his stomach filled out, and that's when he started coming out of his medical haze, if you will. But we thought he was dying. I just brought him home to die with his family instead of being stuck in a hospital to die alone on an iPad. It wasn't happening on my watch, not in a million freaking years. So, and it was up to him, right? It was his call. I said, if you want to go, you're safe. You're here at home. And if you want to stay, you're safe. You're here. You're home, and you're with us, and I'll take care of you. So that's how it went down, and we cleaned him out. REDOX was a huge deal. Huge deal. Yeah. And a bunch of others. I add those to my website. You can go check out my website too at amandaforbes.ca if you want to hear more. Join my healing community, my regenerative healing community. I'm not taking any clients right now, but yeah, for sure. We get into some discussions and let's just start thinking in terms of regenerative health and know that you can do it. You can empower yourself enough to do this yourself. And if you need a support system, there's people like Naomi out there. There's people like me out there that just want to help, and I'll end this off with me saying, I want you to live healthy. I want you to live fully. And most importantly, I want you to live free. Naomi, do you have anything you want to add?
Lovely to be here, lovely to chat, and look forward to reading questions and comments and meeting anybody in the Facebook group after this. I'll be in the Facebook group for the next couple of hours, like virtually in the group. If anybody wants any help, I'll be there. So feel free to pop in and ask anything.
There's the Facebook group again. I will, if you give me 1 second here, I will post the link in there for you guys again if you didn't get it. And we can go from there. Oh, hi, Roseanne. Yeah, I will say hi to him. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you for thinking about him. He's doing really well as the circumstances allow. So yeah, awesome. So hop on in that group. We've got the deal going on that Naomi's pulled out of head office for you. The first 20 people to go in and grab yourself some REDOX gets a free mask. So I can't wait to try that myself.
You're gonna love it.
Oh yeah. So thank you so much. I appreciate you coming out.
It's so lovely to chat finally.
I know. Let's do it again soon, and we'll go down some different topics with this.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay. I love you, my friend.
All right. Love you too. Bye.
Stick around after.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And I hope you got a little bit of information, education out of this. That's the main goal. And like I said, I'm not here to sell anything to you. I'm here to show you new things that are out there that can benefit you very, very well. Most things that are called quackery or hoaxes or anything like that, Some are. I mean, we know some are. There's always those people, but at the end of the day, this one was a definite game changer for my dad, for my dad's brain, for my dad's gut health, for his ability to move and the inflammation that he did have in his body. So I offer that out there to you. Hop on into the Facebook group, get some information, and we hope to see you again next time. Okay, have a great day. And there we go.
That was awesome. I think we rocked it.
I was like, I don't feel like we have enough questions here. That was dumb of me.
Oh no, it was great. It was fine. Like we covered everything. Totally.
Trying to. Oh,